There are many well-known creepy images around the net that are supposedly real, although in this video we revisit 13 famous paranormal photos and finally explain them. Number 13. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. The Brown Lady of Raynham is one of the most famous ghost photos of all time. Investigations done on the original photographic plate showed that there was no manipulation of the plate itself. For a long period, the picture was deemed to be a ghost photo until more detailed revelations were done. Mr. Alan Murdy, a supernatural researcher, found documents that suggest fakery. His evidence suggested that the camera leaked light into the plate, thus creating the infamous Brown Lady. Number 12. Medieval Farm Boy. The photo of a supposed ghost of what happens to be a medieval farm boy was taken near Evereach, England in 2003. It created a sensation, especially since it was authenticated by experts as being real. Unfortunately, after further digging, it was established that the picture was not worldly after all. Only in this case, the world was Tatooine, as in Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. Obviously, someone photoshopped the tranquil meadow scene. Number 11. The Battle for Los Angeles photo. In 1942, months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, an air raid siren sounded over LA. Anti-aircraft fire pounded the skies as spotlight shone on the aircraft that was hovering over the city. The next day, the newspapers reported that a UFO had been spotted over LA, and they included a picture illuminated by spotlights. Years later, the exact effect was replicated, proving that there was no real battle for Los Angeles. Number 10. Solway FIRTH Spaceman. In May of 1994, Jim Templeton, a fireman from the city of Carlisle, took several photos of his young daughter on their family trip to Berg Marsh. Later, when the photos were developed, Templeton noticed a strange spaceman figure in the background of one of the photos. Well, actually, it was his wife who was standing in the background, overexposed and whitened by the sunlight. It becomes clear when false coloration is added to the photo. Number 9. The Flying Rods. The flying rods, fast airborne creatures, several feet long and apparently everywhere, caused quite a stir when they were discovered in the mid-90s. You may remember them if you're old enough. They often appeared in photos and videos, but were invisible to the naked eye, leading many people to consider them as being pan-dimensional alien beings. But if the naked eye had slow shutter speed or frame rate, we'd see them, since they're just moths and nothing more. Number 8. The Wern Ghost Apparition. The photo of the little girl looking out of a burning building taken in Shropshire, England in 1995 has generated a lot of controversy over the years. However, one of the readers of Shropshire Star Times newspaper noticed a little girl standing in the corner of an old postcard that looked similar to the girl in the famous photo. Once the revelation occurred, the photo taker was afraid to admit his Photoshop mischief. Number 7. The Surgeon's Photo. The photo was allegedly taken by a gynecologist and his wife who were on holiday driving along the banks of Loch Ness. Unfortunately, the photo was 100% fake. The monster in this picture is simply a toy submarine. The plot to create the fake photo was revenge for a slight by the Daily Mail. The newspaper had ridiculed the man named Wetherall after investigating what he claimed were Nessie's footprints on the bank, but turned out to be those of a hippopotamus. Number 6. Colin Evans' levitation. One of the most common people that have claimed to experience levitations in the past includes Colin Evans. The photograph is nothing short of hilarious. It is a flash-illuminated picture of science held at Wortley Hall in Finsbury Park, London. A cord leading from a device in Evans' hand indicates that it was he who triggered the flash photograph. His feet are a blur above the seat, while his body is in a crouched position, which clearly shows it's a hoax. Number 5. The Mulmer's Ghost Photos. Mulmer had a hobby in photography and was known for taking photos of people while their dead relatives hovered in the background. This photo just happens to be Abraham Lincoln's widow. However, not everyone was convinced that he was photographing real dead people. It was later pointed out that the effect was easily achieved by double-exposing film, and most of the ghostly figures were actually still alive. Number 4. The Venusian Scoutcraft. Photographed by George Adamski, who claimed that he was contacted by the Venusians on multiple occasions. Despite the claims sounding like science fiction, he conducted lectures and wrote books about his contacts with deep space Aryans, which made him gain an audience with the Queen of Netherlands. The interstellar spaceship, however, was just a lampshade with ping-pong balls attached to it. Wow. Number 3. The Thoughtography Photos. Ted Serios claimed to have a psychic power of transferring his thoughts into developing a film. He did this by screaming while drunk and holding a small device, gizmo, to the lens of a camera while getting someone else to trigger the shutter. A series of photographs would then be produced that showed cars, buildings, and people. However, it was revealed that the gizmo contained a lens with a transparent image on it. Number 2. The Patterson'S photo. Taken by Roger Patterson and Roger Grimlin, is probably the most famous picture of Bigfoot that exists. The two were on horseback in Six Rivers National Forest, where they were shooting a documentary. According to them, they just happened to see a Bigfoot. Unfortunately, several people have come forward to admit their complicity in the hoax. They included the man in the suit, a special effects artist who created the suit, and one of the producers of the film. Number 1. The Cottingley fairies photos. In 1917, two girls captured the public imagination with their claim that they found fairies in the garden, and they had pictures to prove it. Even Arthur Conan Doyle wrote about them in his personal magazine, claiming that they were definitely real, except they weren't. The girls admitted 70 years later that they used cardboard cutouts and posed in front of the camera.